Hi guys and welcome. Today I'm going to show you how to make that beautiful soda bread, focaccia bread that I told you is fabulous with the feta and pistachio dip that I made the other day. The thing I love about this bread is there's no rising, there's no yeast in it. It's using a traditional Irish soda bread recipe and heaping a whole pile of spices on there. And it just transforms it into this absolutely delicious, easy peasy bread. Okay, so the first thing I have in here is 450 grams of plain flour, okay? And to that, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt, or half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of sugar, and 1 teaspoon, level teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda or bread soda. It's really important that you don't go over the level teaspoon. And by level teaspoon, I mean, I'll just give you a little demonstration here. That's a heaped teaspoon, okay? We don't want that. A level teaspoon is where it's just even on the spoon like that. And if you go over that, you're going to get that gritty taste in your mouth that you don't want from bicarbonate of soda. So I'm going to pop all these guys in here. I'm going to give everything a quick stir around. Just using a fork, you can use a spoon. My mother always used a fork to do this. So we usually tend to imitate the way we see things done. Some people are visual learners. That's why I made these videos, because a lot of people find it difficult to read a recipe in a book and have the confidence to make something. So these videos are so for all those visual learners out there hoping to make things easier. The next thing I'm going to add in here is 2 tablespoons? Yeah, 2 tablespoons. No, I better get that right. Yeah, 2 tablespoons of cumin seeds, and that's what the cumin seeds look like. I don't know if you can see that. And then I have 1 teaspoon of chili flakes in here. Okay, you can get them in most big supermarkets like Tesco or Super Value, and I'm just going to give them a little swizz around here to evenly distribute. It's also important to evenly distribute your bicarbonate of soda in here as well, because if it stays in one clump, it'll create this little pocket and it'll turn out nasty brown color. I'm telling you all these things because I've learned all these things from mistakes that I have made, so hopefully you will avoid them. The last ingredient in here is buttermilk. Now I've measured 400 mils in here, but what you need to do is just add a little bit at a time. Well, most of it, add most of it and hold back a little bit, because sometimes you don't need as much as the recipe set calls for. So if you just keep stirring, you want to create a nice wet dough. Not too wet that you can't handle it, but you can always add more flour anyway. Even if you add too much liquid in here, you can always add more flour just to bring it back to the consistency that you want. Now at this point, some people stick their hands in here just to bring everything together. You can do that. I am just going to keep going here with the fork, and I can tell that it's a little bit drier than I would want it to be, so I'm going to add the rest of the buttermilk. Waste not, want not. And just keep going here like this. Today is Liam's birthday today. He's 12 years of age today. So we had a lovely birthday breakfast for him. That's what we do in this house. We have we just have a little bit of a nicer breakfast, like waffles and a little bit of bacon and sausage, and then we do the gifts in the morning. And we started doing a thing a couple of years ago called affirmations. So each of us sit around the table. I know this might sound a bit corny, but it actually has been lovely for our family, where we sit around the table. There's the cat crying. I wonder, does the cat want to get out, Maria? Or in? Apologies, life goes on here with the animals. Anyway, we sit around the table and we just say why we love the person, or what it is about the person that we love. We love them unconditionally, but what it is that is particular to them that we really love. And at the start, it was really difficult to try and do it, because especially in Ireland, we're not used to affirming each other. So it took a while for us to get into the language of, like, you know, I love you because, not you don't want to say I love you because we should love each other anyway, but I love it when you do this, or what I love about you is, like for Liam, what we love about Liam is he has a fantastic ability to articulate what's going on inside himself, you know, and to talk about how he feels. Anyway, enough about Liam. I forgot to have a little bit of extra flour over here to dust my board. Okay. So I'm going to just spoon my flour out here. I'm using my Polish flour that I like to use whenever I need a bit of a rise in a recipe, because I just find it's light. It's like an Italian 00 type flour that's double sieved. Okay, I should have taken my ring off before, but anyway. Clean hands and just get in here and pull back with your fingers and push in with your this part of your, I never know what to call that, the heel or the palm of your hand, and just to bring it all together into a nice round ball. Keep dipping your hands in the flour if your hands get sticky, and keep moving you can add extra flour onto your board as well, just to bring it into a nice round shape like that. And I'm going to flatten it out using both hands. Make sure it doesn't stick to the board. Plenty of flour under there. And at this stage, I'm going to pop it onto my tray, okay? If you were making a normal soda bread like this, you would put it into the oven like this, cut across the top of it. But because I'm going to flatten it out today, I'm going to put it onto a lined tin. I'm just using an ordinary Swiss roll tin. You can use whatever kind of tin you want, whatever you have. Don't be going out to buy a special tin for this. Just use whatever kind of tin you have. And I've cut the paper to size. And I'm literally going to pop it in here and keep pushing it out. Keep your hands flustered in flour, I was going to say. Dusted in flour so that you can have good purchase on the dough to keep it moving. And I'm moving it out into all the corners because we want a nice even looking spread of bread in here, focaccia bread. And already it looks like something quite exotic with all the seeds peeking through. And now we are going to add even more. Maria, do you know what I forgot to get was some thyme leaves out of the garden? If you could run and just grab me a few. Maria just happens to be on a half day today on a Wednesday, and unfortunately she's having to do all the running. Sorry, Maria. Not at all. Okay, so that's that. I'm just going to give my hands a super quick wash over here. The sun is shining. I was going to say today, but you can't really say today in Ireland these days because we have nearly 4 seasons in one day, but the sun is shining now and it's lovely out there. Okay, next step is to brush some olive oil all over the top. Now I'm going to use 3 tablespoons of olive oil on here, and I'm just going to splash it on there quite liberally. That's what's going to give it that lovely golden touch at the top. And I usually use my little pastry brush, but I've forgotten my pastry. If you just run it under the top for me, that'll be great. So just use your fingers to spread it all the way around, just like that, so that each section of the bread is covered with a liberal amount of olive oil, okay? And then the next step is my spices. I have 2 tablespoons of cumin here, 1 teaspoon of nigella seeds, which happens to be, took me ages to find these, they are black onion seeds. And black onion seeds you can find in most supermarkets. Nigella seeds I could only find in one random supermarket. So, but they're the same thing. So, and 1 teaspoon of sumac, which is a beautiful Middle Eastern spice. Okay, so I'm just going to sprinkle quite liberally the cumin all along, and that's going to give it that lovely, I always like the flavour of cumin. I think it's a very warm spice, And it's going to give a lovely color here as well. And then the seeds are very typical of focaccia bread. Just that nice, or you know the way naan bread usually has those little black seeds on them? That's what these guys are. So just sprinkle everything evenly all the way around, and you'll see that it is quite eclectic looking already. Okay, the last spice that I'm going to add is called coriander seeds. Okay, and that's what they look like. You can get them in like Tesco or Super Value as well. And I have a lovely pestle and mortar here, and the handle part is dead, it cracked and died. But you can just use an upturned spice bottle and just cover your hand over the bowl, and it'll do the same thing, exactly the same thing as the, I don't know which is the pestle and which is the mortar. I have no idea, but it does exactly the same thing. So you don't even need one of these fancy bowls, just use a normal bowl, stick your seeds in there and give them a good crush. And they don't have to be completely crushed, but I'm just releasing the spice. Oh, even the smell already is fabulous. It's I don't know how to describe it. It's like a herby lemon smell. Just beautiful. So I'm not going to make sure everything is crushed through here. I'm just going to give it a fairly good pounding like that, okay? And this is what you end up with. I don't know if you guys can see that. They're just, it's just changed from single round balls to kind of, I don't know, creamy. And I'm going to sprinkle these guys all over the top. Just like that. I have my oven preheated to 220. And it doesn't take a lot of time for this to cook. About 15-20 minutes max. So it's a handy one to have, even if people call unexpectedly, which we're all looking forward to in the future. This is one that you can whip up if you have the ingredients in the oven in less than 20 minutes cooked. Last ingredient is some thyme leaves that I happen to have in the garden, although my thyme plant doesn't look terribly healthy. Sure, it doesn't bring it. There wasn't a lot to pick from, was there? No. So I'm just going to pull the leaves off and sprinkle all over here. If you don't have fresh herbs, you really should try and plant some. Honestly, the difference in the flavour is incredible. If you buy them, they're usually in the supermarkets at this time of year. Stick them in the ground, outside, and they'll keep growing. If you keep them on the windowsill, they'll die. So stick them in the ground, especially the hardy ones like rosemary and thyme and oregano and sage. They all work great outside. Now, if you don't have fresh herbs, you can buy them in packets in fresh herbs. But even if you can't get that and you have a packet of thyme, dry thyme in your press, just use your dried thyme. A little bit of something is better than nothing, I think, in most recipes. So there you go. Don't really have a whole lot of thyme on there, but the last ingredient to pop on here is a good sprinkling of salt. And I like to use the crushed salt like this because it gives it a little bit of more of a crunch. Okay, that's it guys. I'm going to pop it into the oven, and my agate is sadly off now because we have hit May. Once May comes, the agate gets shut down. So I'm going to pop this into my back oven and I'll come back to you when it's done. So guys, literally 15 minutes is all it took because it's such a flat bread. It cooks through very quickly, and you know it's cooked if you lift the bottom of it, give it a tap, and it sounds hollow. So you can let that sit on a wire rack to cool down, take the paper off, or if you want to eat it straight away and serve it nice and hot, just pop it on here onto your serving tray and just try and slide the paper off, just like that. Look at that, does that not look fantastic? And a beautiful new plate that I bought fits perfectly for this. And if you haven't seen the whipped feta and pistachio dip video, go and take a look at that because it just goes perfectly with this. Tear off a piece at the side, dip it in, fabulous starter. Absolutely lovely nighttime snack. Guys, thanks for watching. I hope you get a chance to make something as wonderful as this today or sometime this week, maybe the weekend. Thanks for watching. God bless.